We're on the air.
Okay. Welcome to the January 16th, 2019 meeting of the Kennebunkport Planning Board. So attendance, we're missing 2, which means that both of our alternates will be voting since Ed and Scott are not here. So, first order of business is to approve the minutes from two meetings ago where you had asked for some changes and Larry had also, and Larry's, she reviewed the tapes and yours were unnecessary, but are you happy with the changes she made?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's fine with me.
So would you like to move approval of those minutes?
I will move approval of the minutes from whenever it was, two sessions ago.
2 sessions ago.
December
yes.
19th? Wasn't it December 19th?
December 19th.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay, in favor? Okay. Now, we have the minutes of the meeting from January, whatever,
2nd.
2 weeks of January 2nd. So, any issues?
I didn't see any.
I didn't see any issues.
No.
Okay, could I have a motion on this?
Motion to approve.
I'll
Okay.
second.
All in favor? Okay. So, that brings us to item 181201, Aaron and Emily Cooper, Walsh Engineering, Site Plan Review, Public Hearing. And you sent us a whole bunch of stuff that came in as we're about to meet, not quite, but came in sometime like today or yesterday. 7 days in advance is what it's supposed to be.
Yep.
And, you know, I don't know whether this is enough, whether we've all digested it or not, but why don't you proceed?
Okay. Yep, I apologize for that. It should have gotten out sooner. It was a mix-up, I think, in our office. I thought somebody sent it out, and he thought I sent it out, so that I own that, and I apologize for that.
Okay.
We'll try to be better about that as we
That
go
would be
forward.
good.
As I guess most of you heard last time, Bill Walsh from Walsh Engineering, and we're here for, on behalf of Aaron and Emily Cooper, of the Emily Cooper Revocable Trust, who's actually the property owner. The existing house here, the property line is this. The revetment that we're talking about, this is Goose Rocks Beach down here, that's the revetment down at the base. The lot is about 0.28 acres, it's about 150 feet in this direction and about 100 feet across. The proposed project that we're looking to get approved is to take the existing wall, the existing revetment, and basically deconstruct it and then reconstruct it. And the purpose of it is that many of the stones in there are just not large enough to deal with the wave action that this is getting. And what we're finding is that the rocks are shifting and moving and actually falling off. Some actually fall down in there during the heavy March storm events. It'll be done in sort of a series of sections. We'll work from the beach and take out a section of it, take it apart, put larger stones back in or I'll say supplement the stones that are there, many of them larger, and rebuild that. And just move our way across the property. Geotextile fabric will be put on the, no, I do actually have that here. Nope, that didn't work so well, did it? 2-sided tape. The detail is to put in a geotextile fabric on the backside of this, and then that helps to keep the sand from being pulled out of the dune as the waves crash in on it, and just keep the dune in place. The additional information that was asked for that you just discussed was a letter of authorization that we received from the trust. So we had Emily and Aaron, as trustees of that trust, give us that information, which tightens that up a little bit. We have a copy of the recorded deed. That's there as well. We have, let's see, a copy of the survey of the property, which is this plan right here. That's actually upside down compared to the plan that we had, so Kings Highway's down here and the beach is up there. And there was that question of this property line sort of extending out, and it does in fact extend out here. And I believe that the Coopers are part of the group that signed the 25-foot issue from the seawall.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that that's the case. I checked with the clerk, and didn't find evidence that they were part of the beach use agreement.
Oh, they were not?
They're, at this point, I believe they're still listed as one of the plaintiffs.
Okay.
So, just to, point out and give the board kind of a quick reminder, that the Goose Rocks Beach lawsuit concerning ownership of the beach is still ongoing. With that being said, having spoken with both the town manager and the town attorney, that the town doesn't have any objection to the Coopers doing this repair work and replacement work on their seawall, and as such can provide a letter to that effect stating that there's no objection to accessing the wall for purposes of repair. So.
Thank you, Warner.
Yep.
And then I think the last item that was discussed, and I've talked to the Coopers about this, and I think we submitted something on this, was these two green areas on either side are easements that the Coopers are trying to obtain from their neighbors. As I'm sure you can imagine, those rocks don't follow the property line, so the idea is a 15-foot wide easement here that would be a temporary construction easement that allows them to get the contractor to get in, and those rocks will be sort of adjusted and moved a little bit probably as construction happens. It'll all be put back into its original positions, if you will. And I guess we respectfully ask that that's a condition of approval, that we provide those easements. It's just gonna take a little bit of time to work through that with the neighbors.
Well, wouldn't you need the town to give that easement to?
So I don't know that there needs to be an easement for the stone wall itself. I don't believe that was necessarily part of the claim.
No, I mean for the construction on either side.
Yeah, and I think, and that's what the intention is that the town would give a letter, that states that there's no objection to accessing the property via the beach for purposes of, doing this project.
Okay.
I think where Nina's going is if there is litigation over that part of the beach, since the town is a party to that litigation and the Coopers have not signed off on the beach use agreement, and I don't know the status of the neighbors on the beach use agreement either, would the town need to give its blessing, so to speak, to do this specific
For the
work?
For a similar construction easement.
Yeah.
I can check with that.
Okay.
Doesn't sound like you're gonna read your finding of facts this evening.
I don't think so. Sorry.
So, sorry, regarding the easements, if the two neighbors refuse, do you have a plan B to construct the wall without getting easement?
Yeah, Plan B will be to just come in and mark where the property line is and stay on the Cooper's property. So, not ideal, they'd obviously like to go to their property line, but if they can't, then that's what they'll do.
Okay.
There was some questions that came in, I think probably on the email that you all received as I did, from,
Yep.
it's not a neighbor, it's, I think, a door or two down from them. Is there an effect on the abutting wall, I think was sort of the first question. and I think where this question generates from is when you have a wall and then the wall ends. That's typically where we see problems in the work that we do on these walls. So you get more action where there isn't a wall, on erosion, if you will, where they end. I think that's where where that question emanates from. I don't feel this is a problem because we have an existing wall. You know, the wall's gonna be built essentially where it is now, same slope, same angle, all of that. So, she asked, is there something that we would recommend? We have walked up and down this wall, obviously looked at it. In my opinion, the Coopers are doing the right thing. This wall is fairly steep on this side, and there are what we call hangers there. And when I brought the contractor out there, he said, I don't think I want to get too close to that wall. So there's some big rocks that are sort of dangling in a way. So, you know, my recommendation is if I had that wall, I think I'd want to have somebody look at it and touch it up just because of that. So I think that answered her questions.
Well, I think that particular neighbor questioned, you know, is it going to change the drift of sand and the movement of the water along the beach?
Right.
And, well, I don't think the rock wall will, because it's basically going the same place. There is a pier to be reset, and are you changing that at all?
No, they have some steps going down there. Those are, let me show you.
Are they steps that are removed each year?
Yes, they're removed each winter, and
Okay.
they actually set up the actual fixed pier piece of this, which I'm hoping I've got the picture of, yeah. I don't know if you can see this or not, but they're up high on the wall.
Oh,
It's actually
okay.
pinned to the stones that are up high on the wall, so there's no, we're not doing a jetty or anything like that. It's the same wall, just built a little better.
And it's basically wooden stairs that are remade each year?
They actually have an aluminum, so it's
they have
a
aluminum.
fixed pier and then aluminum stairs, so they pull those out in the winter.
Okay.
Yep.
Now,
Is
is
that-
Mrs. Flynn one of the immediate abutters?
No, she's
Somewhere else?
down that way, I wanna say 2 doors, at least. I think it's at least 1 lot away, if not 2 lots away.
Just a follow-up question on Nina's peer question. Just looking at the 2014 survey, it looks like they're in different locations between 2014 and now.
Yep.
Is that a newer pier
It is.
that was put in?
It
Okay.
is. That house, we worked on this house when it was redone. I wish I could remember exactly how many years ago it was. It wasn't, as I want to say, 5 years ago,
Yeah, it would've
roughly.
been 15 or 16,
Is that when it was?
yeah.
So yes, it did get shifted slightly when that happened.
Okay. But the pier that's there now, it's gonna go same exact spot?
Yes. Yeah, and actually,
Okay.
it's actually built to line up with kind of with the door on the beach side.
Okay.
So.
So, any questions from the board at this point?
Not for Mr. Walsh, no.
No.
Okay. Anybody? No. So, I guess it sounds like there's some conditions that need to get added into the FOF you put together.
Yeah, I would, I mean, obviously, I'd like to get a better understanding from the town as to what their formal position is, you know, get that in writing or agreed to in some fashion, regarding I'm gonna use the title to the wall. It's not really the title, but, you know, is the town contesting, you know, I don't know, maybe the town attorney needs to opine on
I'll
this.
check with Amy.
Mainly because
I'll get her to weigh in
if
on
they
it.
allow this, are they giving in to certain arguments they may have within the case? I don't know.
Right.
And then maybe I know I've seen the beach use agreement, I think when we were looking at the Sandy Pines, the first application. Is that something we should look at and get an okay from the town as far as the access via the beach in order to do the construction? I'm not quite sure,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
I can-
where,
what-
where
what-
our obligation falls
What I'll
on
do
that.
is I'll just, I'll get in touch with Amy, just give her an overview of, I gave her an overview of the project when we first discussed it, and then I'll just address the specific questions as far as, is it necessary in this particular case to get, for the town to give an easement, construction easement, similar to what's being pursued by the neighbors.
Okay. And I guess the same would go, I mean, if the neighbors on either side, which, I mean, it would be a condition to get a construction easement from them, are they part of the beach use agreement such that the town doesn't need to be involved in that? Or did they not sign the beach use agreement? And does the town need to also
Yeah,
sign off on the neighbors?
generally speaking, with the beach use agreement, was the agreement that the town wasn't going to claim any ownership of the first 25 feet. And for those who signed the beach use agreement, they essentially had limited rights for recreational use of that first 25 feet. So in other words, they were able to, if folks had set up within that first 25 feet, those folks who signed the beach use agreement had the right to ask those folks to leave, and the town would enforce that. This is the basic premise of that first 25 feet. And in a sense, the parties all just agreed to not pursue any claims of ownership one way or the other, on that 25 feet. But I can, again, I'll,
It's obviously a sensitive
it
area,
is,
so
it's a sensitive issue.
I don't,
No,
Through
where
our
is the
actions.
25 feet measured from?
From the high tide mark?
Okay, so this.
Well,
isn't that-
25 feet isn't, no, it's not necessarily from the high tide. It's essentially from the edges of the seawalls, out towards the waters where that 25-foot area that
Okay, so this.
I would say the first 25 feet of
setback
dry
that's on
sand
here
is what's,
is something else, not the,
So that
no,
could-
you're not seeing that on this plan.
So that could end up including part of somebody's lawn.
Well, I'm not gonna get into any further.
Werner, I do have a question. There is somebody rebuilding down the beach presently.
Correct, yes, they're doing repair work as well.
Did they have to come to the board, or?
We haven't, we haven't been advised that we need to give any specific easements for repair work that's just being done.
Oh,
In
it
this
was
particular,
repair.
right, it's not a complete rebuild. But we've discussed it with town council before about our practice with doing repair, permits for seawalls,
Sure.
and, haven't been advised that we needed to get anything additional.
Okay. It was repair, it was partial repair versus a full reconstruction?
Correct, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, so I'll get in touch with Amy tomorrow and get an answer back to the board.
so, does that imply that we probably have to continue deliberation on this until next time? Or can we approve it?
Well, we need a public hearing.
Yeah.
We haven't opened the public hearing.
Right, we need to, we deemed it complete last time, except for the conditions, but we didn't have the beach use agreement issue in front of us.
that wasn't necessarily a condition, though. We didn't, I guess that,
No,
that didn't,
wasn't a condition.
yeah, that really didn't cross my mind at the time. And then once I read the 2014 survey, there was a note 7 on there that referred to the opinion of J. Gordon Scannell in the quiet title action. So he gave an opinion in that case as to the title, but if that's still at issue in the pending litigation, I don't know. I don't know where that puts us.
It puts us incomplete because we don't know ownership, we don't,
Right.
there's a possibility the town also has an ownership. And even pending litigation, you would ask for approval from the town to
Mhm.
do this.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether that takes our complete application and makes it incomplete, or we just have to wait.
It's another condition, maybe. It's
Maybe we
still
have to
deem
wait,
it
and
complete,
maybe we
but
don't even open up the public hearing until next time.
I would do that.
Well, your public hearing's been noticed.
so we could open it and
You
just
could
keep it
you
open.
can Keep it open.
Open it and keep it open.
Open and keep it open.
Right. Okay, so I guess I will open the public hearing. And there doesn't seem to be anyone here to talk about it, but let's, I would accept a motion to continue the public hearing till the next meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Yeah, I'll second.
In favor? Okay, sorry. But we will be having the public hearing next time.
Okay, and
And
we're,
hopefully we'll have all the information from Amy
okay,
by then.
we'll communicate
Yeah.
anything that
Yeah.
is at issue. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
and then, being it's somewhat before 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, I will still accept a motion at this moment.
Well, you wanna just take 5 minutes and talk about, because we met with Lori and Werner, and
Well,
just,
except that
Ed
Ed's
isn't
not
here.
here, so it
Oh,
would be
let's
better
wait till
we have
next
that
time.
meeting when Ed is here. Plus, there was going to be some discussion with Amy that Lori and Werner were gonna make on
Could,
that.
could we get the gist or the topic of discussion?
Well, the topic was what we spent like half an hour on the last time about.
okay.
Whether you should repeat all of the conditions a second, on a further, on a new application. And we kind of all agreed with Nina, but we're gonna get a clean answer from Amy via
Okay.
Lori.
Yep.
So we'll have, I presume we'll have that also for the next meeting.
Yeah, I would expect that we would have that. Yeah.
So now I will accept
A motion to adjourn?
a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay, and I will call the vote. All right,
Nice and
we're
quick.
done. We're all set.
Good one.
Thank you.